Good morning and an afternoon for a few of you if you're in some other time zone. This is John Chen. I'm here, the host of your Engaging Virtual Meetings podcast. If you're here watching on social media live, hey, do us a favor, hit subscribe, share, like, comment. If you ask a question live during the this meeting, I might actually ask you or ask our guests that question live. If you want all the episodes, go to engagingvirtualmeetings.online. Did you know I have completed over 250 episodes of this Engaging Virtual Meetings podcast? Just listen to it, and a new episode will show up every Wednesday on any one of your 15 beautiful and amazing podcast platforms. In addition to that, if you want to learn how to be more engaging in the world, come to my retreat every October. This year will be October 22nd in 2026. Turn on your camera, scan this QR code, and you can get a free ticket or figure out how to come to as one of our VIPs and a paid ticket. Speaking of VIPs, my guest today, you want to get to know her. All I can tell you is I spent some time with her and it was precious beyond belief. She believes now more than ever your words matter. She's an Emmy Award-winning broadcaster, TEDx speaker, founder of a 3-time Inc. 5000 firm. She's the member of the Florida Girls, an all-girl USO band who performed on the USS Nimitz, and she is one of the newest 600 certified speaking professionals in the world. Let's welcome Sharon Delaney McCloud. Dance Spotlight.
Woo! All right, I love it.
That's Sharon in a nutshell. That's it. Well, the end of show. Everyone log off now. No, just kidding. That's all you get is Sharon. That's all you can afford. Hi, Sharon. How are you doing? Oh, yeah.
Hey. Oh, sorry. Who's this guy? Or is it this guy? Or is it this guy? Or how about this guy? Let's see. Oh, there he goes. There he goes. John Chen performing nationwide. This one at the world famous Cat's Meow in New Orleans, Louisiana. Oh, look at
that's
you
the
go,
shot
John.
right there. Precious. Nothing but spectacular. Oh yeah, behind the back, over the head.
We're all doing it.
all I can tell you, right, Sharon, my secret for karaoke is you figured out I just purely replace talent with theatrics.
I think there's a lot of people who do that.
I just think it, again, if you don't have any talent, then replace it with theatrics, and nobody cares. In fact, they actually like it better. By the way, those who have never been on Bourbon Street, Cat's Meow is one of the most famous karaoke spots in all in Narlands, and the world in general. And we took it over, right?
We did. We had a great night.
We had a great night.
And a rough next morning.
I posted that picture, right, with the knee, like the head back part, and I froze the frame with the head back as far as possible. And the title, the caption on the photo was, "If you see me and my neck hurts, this is why."
Yeah, I saw that. It's so good.
So it's like it was like 30 professional speakers walk into a bar. It was literally that joke. So
exactly.
All right. Well, speaking of spectacular, Sharon, take a moment. Some of my friends apparently don't know you like you know me, and I know you. So why don't you take this moment, introduce yourself, who you are, and what you do in the world.
Sure. And John, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be a part of your community here that you have built over many, many years. And essentially, I am a storyteller. I was a professional television journalist turned professional speaker and corporate trainer. And I really work in 2 lanes. I am a speaker and corporate workshop facilitator in the corporate world, and work with a lot of C-suite executives to help their stories and their messages land. And that's the one thing that we know is true, that communication still ranks as the number 1 criteria for business professionals. You cannot lead if you can't connect well. And then the other lane I work a lot in, John, is in healthcare. And that is my content that all delivers on resilience and workforce resiliency to try and fight the burnout that is so very real for our healthcare partners.
Well, fun news. I just before I saw you in Thrive, I was in Atlanta, Georgia, with the Georgia Healthcare Association, a group I've worked with over 8 years. Fun fact for the Healthcare Association: 99% of long-term care facilities are understaffed.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And what was the other one? That's just but yeah, the burnout is real because especially with COVID, but now they're past that. But
Hmm.
they have challenges retaining people inside of the industry because there's so much, right? If you My mom was a nurse, and my dad was a doctor, so I'm very close to the challenges that healthcare has these days. So
And it's really becoming tougher by the day, and trying to find culture in organizations so that, in one of the words, one of the business partners I've worked with in healthcare is they're trying to go from recruitment to retirement. And so how can you keep people? How can you make them
yeah.
feel like they belong and they feel valued and pour into them? So I love that work with the various businesses and clients that I have the real honor to work with.
All right. Well, how did you get started? How did you know that communication or storytelling or whatever it was going to be your life, Sharon?
My parents are from County Tipperary in Ireland. And if
Oh,
you've ever been to Ireland and been to a pub, there are no televisions on purpose. And they get really angry if you suggest, why don't you have all the monitors so we can be watching the football and the soccer? Of course, it's all football over there. Or the various, yeah, like this. Yes.
your parents
What,
would hate
what,
me. I'm just telling
yes.
you right now.
John, this is what American bars look like. Nothing but monitors. How do you foster conversation if we're all staring at screens, and we're already staring at screens all the time? So, anyway, my father immigrated to the States, and then he went home to get his bride. And he was pursuing a career in aviation
Mhm.
and got a job with Pan Am. Do you remember the great airline Pan Am?
Oh yeah, yeah. I actually have a
Soaring
pin
Internet.
still,
Yeah.
retro.
Oh, do you
Yeah,
really?
I do.
Oh,
Yes.
that's a collector's item.
Hmm.
Anyhow, they moved him to Nairobi, Kenya, my parents, and that's where I was born. And then Tanzania. Well, you know what we didn't have in Tanzania? No television. So guess what we had? Conversation and storytelling at the dinner table every single night. And so it's really a part of my DNA growing up in my family, but also the tradition in Ireland, which stands true today. People want to know your story. And
Yeah.
and so I think, from a personal standpoint, that's really important. But everybody as a professional should be equally as good at telling their company story, their brand story, their why. And I help people find those words.
Find those words. Why don't you give me an example? Like, tell me a story. Tell me a story of somebody you helped find the words they didn't have the words here. I'll give an example. I got a chance to work with a great guy named Gary Agajanian. He's in a vineyard business, and he got a chance to talk to a bunch of peers, and he asked me to coach him. And it was so cool because first he was just going to ramble on about wine, and like at least he had a wine tasting that was like a no brainer. That's going to be a winner. But the more I talked to him, the more I discovered in part of his story. One, that he's Armenian. And two, if you didn't know, did you know that the Armenians have been making wine at least 1,000 years longer than the French or the Italian?
No, that's a really good factoid.
Yeah, they discovered a piece of equipment right in a dig that was from Armenians that is dated 1,000 years before anything they found from France or Italy.
Wow. Now, are Armenians related to Aramaic, the language? Or is it just sounds like?
I think it sounds like right,
Okay, but
like
maybe not, because Aramaic is like in Jerusalem in, the days of Christ, they spoke Aramaic, which may have nothing to do with Armenia. I don't know.
Well, the Armenians were driven out too. There was a genocide where I think the Turkish tried to kill them all, and so his
Mm,
family split up. And this is why wine. This is the you know when you're looking for what's the core of the story. Where is it? So the wine was important because his grandfather got a job at the Christensen Brothers, like an old school, right? This was like a wine brand that we knew from long ago. And as soon as he got a job, he said they need more people. So he's able to regather all his people around the world and his family and say they got work here for us. So they all reconvene back in Napa Valley,
wow.
and that's how that why this is why wine is so important to his his life, his family, and his heritage. And
Very cool.
nobody never knew this story, right? Actually, people who've known him for over 3 years didn't know this story, and so when we brought this out, it really like hit home and told a lot about this person. So I'm just curious, like I wanted to give an example. What's a story that you've been able to bring out of somebody?
Yeah, so that leads to what I do when I work with executives and leaders and really anybody, but it fits squarely in oftentimes with C-suite teams. I meet with them and do what I call a story storm. And I
Hmm.
have an Excel spreadsheet. It's very simple. And it's what's the story, what's the point or lesson, and who's it for?
Right.
And so I'll sit with, for example, a real CEO of a very large hospital system, 20 hospital campuses, 55,000 employees. And he was fairly new to the job, and he was asked to speak at a statewide business conference. And it was the first in person one since COVID.
Mhm.
And most of these business people didn't know who he was because the previous CEO had been at the job for a long time. And so he says, well, they've asked me to talk about healthcare on the horizon. And this is before everything AI. And so we'll hospital at home and virtual appointments, which really COVID helped usher in. And he said, so I guess I'll start with that. I said, no, 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 no. Listen, they don't know who you are yet. You
Right.
need to let them know who you are as a person first before they're going to lean in and listen. So he said,
Wait,
I said,
can I pause you right there for a second?
sure.
Because I had a conversation this morning with somebody who was looking for feedback. So I would love to hear from your point of view. You know, I have a saying, it says the first 5 minutes of any presentation is the most important.
Yes.
The second part, though, is like you're right. A bunch of people didn't know him. So, what do you suggest in that first 5 minutes, especially if you know the room doesn't know who you are?
First of all, we also have to make sure that whatever that I would even argue the first minute
Yes.
is so critical. And Patricia Fripp might say the first 30 seconds
Yeah, the
or
first
two
few words.
seconds,
Yeah, the
right?
first words out of your
The
mouth.
first
Yeah.
words. And and I think it's important because people, the second you walk on stage, either virtual or in person, people are measuring, do I trust you? And are you capable? It's that warmth competence framework that Vanessa Van Edwards has really popularized.
Mm.
And first, they got to do that before they're going to start listening to what you got to say, right? And so, what I said to this doctor is, all right, let's do the story. Let's do our story storming. Give me your background. What's your why? Why did you become a doctor? And how did you get here? And let's then find something. I believe every audience needs to hear a story before you start diving into facts and figures, results, company updates, division updates. You need to have something narrative at the beginning. So after I discovered, turns out he grew up in the most rural area of Arkansas. And so this is how we had him come out. It wasn't a slide with the fancy hospital and logos. It was literally, picture this, a giant slide standing behind him at this large conference center of hills and a dirt road going off into the horizon as far as you can see. And so he came out. He'd already been introduced. So I said, please don't burn that first 20 seconds reintroducing yourself and thanking people for inviting you. They've already introduced you. Come out and say, I grew up in a place that looks very much like this. Rural Arkansas with roads, country roads going as far as the eye can see. The closest hospital more than an hour away.
Ooh,
And I
that's the important
spent,
part.
yep. And I spent a lot of time at my grandparents' home in rural Arkansas as a child. And then here's what he did, John. He pulled a key out of his pocket and he said, I still carry the key to my grandparents' home to remind me where I came from because rural healthcare is a priority for me at this health system because it should not matter what your zip code, you deserve quality healthcare.
Woo!
Bam!
Woo!
Shall we drop the mic? Here we
Wait,
go.
wait, wait. How about this? How about let's see. Wait, I got applause here somewhere. How about this? And
There we go. Here's my new toot, my little toys, my new ones. Got my little mic drop and then my little toot. Anyhow, that
that's
that
good, Sharon. That's great. That's super
thank
great
you.
stuff.
That opener,
Yeah.
the audience was in the palm of his hand.
Right. So, so I'll
They were like, I like this guy.
yeah.
In
Yes.
less than 1 minute, they
Yes.
learned who he was as a human
Yeah.
and his why. And then he could dive into all the facts and figures and here's our plans and our strategic goals and blah, 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 blah.
Right. You know, and the key here too is it's not the words in this case too. Like if I go up there and say these words, well, it might work. It's not going to work because one of the pieces around that's combined with this, it's his authenticity. We're all humans. We can read this and saying he's not just saying words. He's actually recreating a story from his past. All right. And the contrast of like this other speaker that I had, he was apologetic and then he was like, oh, I'm sorry. And then he was like something else, right? I'll try and stay on focus, right? You don't have to say any of these things. Even if you feel this way, it's okay. It's natural. Like
Yeah.
if you're not a public speaker, right? It's what like one of the greatest fears. And the audience doesn't care.
No.
The audience, what they do care about is, right? Again, can I trust you? And then if I can trust you, what's something valuable you have to share with us? And then so I do. I think that was a genius part. His was uh, do you know what a cack is, Sharon?
A what?
A cack.
No.
So, and then I tried to tell him too, like let's use humor to make this memorable, right? Cack, right? Say it with me, right? Cack. This is like basically the sound that your cat makes when he puts up a hairball. Ready?
Oh, yeah.
On three. 1, 2, 3. Cack, right? And so then I would like try to make up a metaphor. It's like the metaphor is this is like your customer acquisition cost.
Ooh.
Now the question is, do you know what your customer acquisition cost is? And actually, the opening line we tried to work on, like we talked about it, and then somebody actually had, I know a customer who has a $5,000 customer acquisition cost. Now, yeah, right? You should be in the audience going, that sounds insane, and okay, tell me more. And it turned out that they spend $5,000 per customer to come in through, because the thing that they sell is a minimum $30,000.
Okay. Well, yeah. So we got to know the other number to see if it makes sense.
The lifetime value of the client, right? And so, yeah,
You
but
mentioned
again,
something about this gentleman that I would like to, if I may, teach you a little technique.
ooh, okay.
This is from my days as a television news anchor.
Oh,
I'm going to teach you how to rather, not Dan Rather,
I
but
like
rather
Dan. I was
how
around
to
when Dan was around. Yeah, go ahead.
how to rather your way out of a stumble with your words. And when I say this, you're going to say, John, oh, of course I've heard that. Follow me along. Pretend you're watching the 6 o'clock news and the meteorologist is up against the map saying, tomorrow we're going to reach a high of 65, rather 62 degrees. And then you're going to need to have your umbrella ready, blah, 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 right? Or another example of the news anchor. Today, police were called to a school where they arrested 4 teenagers for bringing a knife on campus.
Interesting.
That is a technique that you actually learn how to correct what you misspoke in real time without shining a giant spotlight on it. Instead of saying, oh, excuse me. Oh, I meant to say, oh, sorry. You rather your way out of it.
See, here's your intro, right? Founder of a 3-time Inc. 500, rather 5,000 firm.
Exactly.
There, how's that? That's pretty good.
That's very good.
Oh, wow. I don't think I learned that technique. That's great. Thank you so much for that. The key around it, I think, is that it's one word, right? One word. But I can tell you this, right? So, me, Sharon, as a producer, one of the things around as a producer is that you can make mistakes, but if you make mistakes and fix them fast enough, nobody cares. Right? Like unmuting a mic or not seeing the slide. Again, we try not to do that. But if it does happen, if you can fix it in under 2 seconds, most of the time the audience will not talk about it. But if Sharon comes on, right, starts talking and she's on mute and I don't fix it in under 2 seconds, the chat will blow up going, Sharon's on mute. Oh my God, right? Can she figure it out? Is she what kind of CSP is she? And you'll see this chat, right, blow up, right, of people complaining around this. And so I do think that's why I think that the rather has its value in the fact that you don't need to be perfect and you do need to fix whatever you're doing in a very short amount of time.
Exactly.
Cool technique. I've never seen that. Thank you so much for that. All right. So tell me about May of 2000, or sorry, tell me about March of 2000 or 2020. Let me try again. Tell me about March of 2020, and what happened to you? Where were you, and what happened in Sharon's life?
Whew. Like everyone, the entire world for that matter, our community and our state shut down very quickly. And at the time, I was running an agency.
And like marketing agency?
A marketing agency, and I ran the professional development arm of it and the video production.
Okay.
Very quickly, because we had professional videographers and editors on staff, and I also had my former co-anchor from the news. We had hired her over. We took her from the TV station. She came to work with us. Wow. We immediately started offering virtual conferencing. In a minute's notice, we very quickly, and we had, luckily, one of our clients prior to COVID was Cisco. And Cisco had us doing training all over the world. So there I was at their London office doing communication training, and I had to do it hybrid. This is back in 2018 and 2019, where I had 10 people in front of me, and then 9 people joining us from India online, all through WebEx.
You're an early hybrid person.
Yes, and oh God, kill me now. You know how it is. Hybrid is the most challenging of all because I always feel like someone's getting the short end of the stick. But then I didn't know you, and I didn't see how you do it. This was early days when we were still trying to figure out how to serve 2 audiences well. But we very quickly, and even before that, I had been going to conferences around the country. This was in like 2017, encouraging people to live stream their events.
Yeah.
I would go to event planners and say, you need to bring in live streaming so that you create FOMO. So all those people who didn't buy a ticket and come in person, they're coming next time. So that was one of my keynotes. Create FOMO by live streaming your next event.
Wait, have you heard my saying around this, Sharon? Here's my catchphrase for this. Are you ready? Virtual is the gateway drug to in-person.
Yes! Oh, I have heard you say that. Indeed. Yes. Yes. This was before I knew you.
Right. And it's true. I have now case studies of it. A police chief in Honolulu came and saw me in Orlando last year. First, she had a box of chocolate-covered macadamia nuts. And then she came and told me, she goes, I got to tell you a story. So she told me a story, and she goes, your virtual last year was so good, because I was a virtual MC. And she goes, I was able to convince my boss to pay for 4 of us to come in person this year.
Oh my goodness.
And I told the organizer, right? So I don't organize this conference, but my good friend does, and she said she goes, "I'm so thankful for these people because what happened last year in the registration when all the things changed, when all the budgets changed, because she has all government agencies, city, state, and federal, lots of the registration stopped at one point."
Right, right.
And so people like her were like, they were like gold to her. And so she made her number, but it's only because she's been running hybrid for multiple years now.
Wow, that is terrific. And it's quite rare to hear it in like that with a success story. And so we actually, luckily, because of our television background,
Yeah.
and I'm an editor, my first job out of college was editing the videos
Oh,
for the 6 o'clock news. I
oh,
love technology,
okay.
and I was willing to say yes to anything. And so we took our office, even though no one was coming in office, it was a big empty space that we were still paying a lot of rent for.
Yeah.
We came in and put up a giant green screen,
Yep.
and then we started inviting all of the people. We're ready to put on your virtual conferencing right now. So,
Genius. So, and where did your so, like, where did the sense of that become come through? So, for me, right, COVID was like the best gift I think I ever got because it was those were two of my best business years that I've had, and I tell speakers all the time, right? A lot of times it's not your speaking ability, it's your flexibility and your ability to deal with all the changes, still as a business owner to keep yourself relevant. So for you, where does that flexibility or where did that sense of can do come for you?
well, we were seeing, of course, we were getting emails in from, well, it looks like we're going to have to cancel this. It looks like no, we don't. We have an option, and we have a solution if you would be open to it. Now, I will say it worked for our local clients because I had spent so long on the news here.
Take it
I
easy.
benefited from, oh, well, she came from TV. Clearly, she should know how to do this.
Cool.
Where it was a harder sell, John, was for out of town clients who didn't understand my deep background in
Oh.
television and in video production. So we
Hmm.
very quickly started creating videos and sent them to them and said, look, this is what we can do for you. Don't cancel your event. And so we were able to, with some of the larger, like statewide associations, we were able to get them to say yes to giving it a try.
Mm.
And then no one expected it to drag on, right? So then they ended up having to keep these virtual
Two,
events
three,
go on
four
for
years.
another
Yeah. Yeah.
several years. And so I became not a producer like you, but a producer light.
Well, and again, even in the broadcasting space like that, I mean, all that television experience, it's a TV, it's a camera, right?
Yeah.
And and all of that stuff is applicable. Been doing it for decades, and I think that was core. Again, anyone who was not on video, all right, or even worse, don't you have a lot of clients who are unhappy or afraid or don't like video? They don't like
Oh,
seeing themselves.
oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
kind of like hearing yourself. Yeah, and what do you
yeah.
what do you do with them? What's a top tip for them?
So the top tip is they just have to get used to being uncomfortable with watching themselves. Nobody likes it, really, and maybe teenage influencers, but for the most part, no one likes to be watching themselves on screen. And so
Mhm.
I give them techniques on how to do it with their phone because everybody has it. It's ubiquitous. You don't have to go out and buy
The
fancy
equipment. That's
equipment.
right. Yeah.
And everybody has a camera on their laptop now. And so what I do is I say, listen, you've got to practice.
Hmm.
You have to do some reps in advance so that it won't feel awkward the first time you see yourself on screen. And then one of my other tricks, John, is I
Hmm.
have them, they're like, well, I keep looking at myself and it makes me freak out. I said, well, if you're afraid that you're going to look at yourself instead of the camera, you can turn your own view off.
Yeah.
That's one of the options.
Yep.
Or I recommend the center cam, which there's
Yeah.
lots of different ones that make it, because then you can bring it down further right next to the gallery of faces. And then you don't have to feel like you're looking up at the camera, down at the people, up at the camera, down at the people. So those are some of the tricks. And for the high stakes stuff, we do like we do run throughs.
Oh yeah, rehearsal, right?
Oh yeah, we do full on rehearsals.
So yeah, rehearsals used to be a yellow flag. Like there are some programs like on online you could do. Actually, I met somebody who did webinar training for years before even COVID, and they said that upwards of 90% of people who present on a webinar are presenting there for the first time.
Ooh,
Meaning
wow.
that they went through no rehearsal, they went through no like dry run of like figuring it out. They just like thought they could turn the camera on, it would be all miraculously awesome, and that is not the way it's going to be. So rehearsals are a red flag. In fact, I'm so strict now, like in our own NSA, we have a speaker showcase. If you don't show up for a rehearsal day, you're out. You are out
Good.
because you're going to screw it up for everyone else too.
Exactly. And in a live webinar, if the screw ups is costing time, and time is the thing you cannot get back. And if you blow up that agenda, you'll never be invited back.
Yeah, this is why landing the plane or ending on time is so important. And like top keynoters, right? We have the 60-minute version, the 45, the 30, the
Mhm.
15, and we've had it happen where, somebody goes long and they're just like, we need you to help us get back on time while still
Ooh,
having an impact.
exactly.
And
That's the other thing that I always tell people that I work with. It is a cardinal sin to go over your time allotment. So,
yeah,
yeah.
right now, Last Story Standing is happening in lots of NSA chapters, and I've heard
Yes.
multiple stories of people who went over time. And they have to get eliminated, and so it doesn't matter how good your story is, but when you go over time, yeah, yeah, it's detrimental to you and the planner and everyone else associated with it. So I think there's the key part. I did like in one of our other programs. So in the speaker showcase, you could go you could go under by a minute and over by 30 seconds, but not more than that. And they actually, three Hall of Famers came back with that rule, and they said because no planner will ever fire you for going 30 seconds over, but they will
Mhm.
fire you for going 5 or 10 and 20
Oh,
minutes over,
sure. Yeah,
right? They'll never hire you again, one of the two. Yeah.
exactly.
All right. Well, what do you see for the future for virtual or hybrid? I'm kind of curious where you are with hybrid now. You had such a visceral reaction. I'm just curious because
Well, I'll say, and I do a good amount of hybrid to
yeah,
this day.
yeah,
And it's one of my clients, because it has 20 hospitals,
yeah.
they cannot bring everyone in because it's
It's
a
too expensive.
500-mile radius.
Yeah,
And I do quite a few hybrid programs. And what I do is I bring extra monitors
good.
so that I can be assured to have the chat, and I make it as large as possible.
Hmm.
And then I encourage people, unmute yourself when you have a question. Stop me because I only have these two sets of eyes. And if
Yes.
I'm serving, I'm going to be checking as often as possible, but I try to up top give them the housekeeping measures like
Yeah.
raise your hand virtually,
Yeah.
and either the virtual hand, your real hand, I'll be looking, but if I miss it, unmute yourself. I don't want this to be a monologue. I want this to be a conversation with all of us. And I think if you do that over and over again, other people also learn and start to do I think
Absolutely.
it really is contagious. So
The, the,
I think it's possible to keep doing hybrid well.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what format, right? For me, it's around can you create psychological safety? And you got to
Mhm.
start creating it often, even before you get on stage, but definitely as soon as you get on stage. So here are things that I've seen other speakers hang themselves with. And what I mean by that is they ask the question, right? All right, how many of you are rural doctors, right? And then they don't even listen to the answer, right?
Oh,
Oh, I know how many there are, blah, blah, blah. And they just talk over the question, they get the answer, as opposed to waiting and responding. And so when you talk over a question, especially if there was silence, even a small bit of silence that you got uncomfortable with, you tell everyone else, I really don't care what your answer is. And then
oh,
they stop replying to you.
oh.
So what we do is we make sure if you're going to ask a question, sit around, respond to that, make sure that you take the time that you allocated the time to either respond to the question and or allow other people to talk. I actually allocate up to half of my keynote time, Sharon, for the audience to talk.
Oh, that's fantastic.
because, right, number one is like what they say is way more important than what I have to say. And number two is it's impossible for them to be multitasking and tuned out when they are spotlighted and the whole,
Yeah,
program is
when
watching
you're
them.
asking, and
Yeah.
human nature is if someone asks you a question, you're answering it in your head or out loud if they give you the opportunity.
Yeah. But then again, if I not ask you to share it somehow, chat or something else, right? And some, right? Have you seen anybody who just talks right over a question?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. I
That
know what you're talking. Now, I
that's
like to
exactly
use
what happened.
Mentimeter.
Yeah,
There's
that
so
works
many
too.
great tools. And, I say, I know I'm talking about we're trying to disrupt distraction, but I'll ask you to take out your phone for just a couple seconds here as we do a live
Yeah,
poll. And
yeah,
then we talk about the results of the poll.
yeah.
We don't do it just to do it. We actually, all right, now let's chat about why did we answer things this way?
You'll have to check out my friend's tool. Lux's tool is called Stream Alive, and what happens is actually easier for the virtual people to use.
Oh,
All they have to
streaming.
do is chat.
Oh.
You ask a question or you ask for a word cloud. What's one word to describe world, medical healthcare? And they chat a word and you build a word cloud. All they have to do is chat. But the in-person people actually have to take out their phone and scan the QR code. But the virtual
That's
people,
funny.
all they have to do is chat because they put a bot inside of the chat. And so now it's one of the reasons why I personally use it. Make it
Oh, I'll
easier.
have to
Like,
check it out
yeah.
for sure. Thank you.
Okay, so let's see. We're to this amazing stage of this interview, which is called the speed round. The speed
Ooh.
round is while we've been chatting, I wrote down a number of questions for you that, if you're okay with that, I'm going to ask you, and you're going to try and answer them as quickly as possible. And then, of course, I'll play some ridiculous sound after you answer it.
I
That
love it.
sound good?
Sounds good.
The speed round. Okay, here we go. The speed round with Sharon. Best quote.
The human voice. It's the instrument we all play. It can either start a war or say, I love you.
Oh, gee, super relevant. Best story told by someone else.
Best story told by someone else would be my friend Cynthia Demos. It's the most hysterical story I've ever heard, and it happened in New Orleans.
Probably no photos. That's good. Best
Yes.
best dinner table experience in your life.
Wow. Best dinner table experience was eating at the Mina Hotel in Giza, Egypt,
Oh,
while looking at the pyramids.
wow. I would ask the topic, but I won't ask the topic because I can only guess. Okay. Shout out to a company, any company.
UNC Health. They saved my life and they continue to hire me and pour back into their work every day.
Okay, now I gotta ask. Save your life? What'd they do?
Well, John, 2026 marks 10 years since I had cancer.
Oh, I hope you're cancer free. Yes.
Cancer free, doing really well. Thank you.
Wow. Oh, okay. That's a whole nother podcast. We'll talk about that later. Worst idea from a story storm.
Ooh, goodness. Worst idea was a recent one which had nothing to do about people. It was only about profit.
Ew. Sounds familiar. Okay, last one. Oh, wait, no, second to last one. No, third to last one. Your best use of rather.
Back doing the news, I had to employ the word rather many times, especially when we had in North Carolina, it does not snow much, very often. But when it snows, we have like 2 plows for the whole city. And so we would be on the news for like 7 hours.
Oh, when it snowed? Yeah.
Yeah, the snow stopped. But we still had to stay on because the competition stayed on. Well, after 4 hours of saying the same darn thing over and over, the word salad coming out of the mouth, I had to rather my way out of things because I couldn't even make sense anymore. So it wasn't even once. I used it so many times during those really long breaking news things.
All right, let's see if I can do this one. Ready? Okay, second to last. Best speaker marketing idea since you were in an agency.
Oh gosh.
I made these easy for you. You can tell.
I know. I'm just trying to think of the best one. One of the best ones was it was a couple who have become viral sensations.
Ooh.
And if you came to the conference where they were the headliner, you may have the opportunity to get them to write a viral in quotes, song about you.
Oh.
Kind
Well,
of
geez,
different.
that sounds related to my best marketing idea right now, which is like use AI such as Suno to write a song about you.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So
I've
actually,
used
well,
Hey Jen to do a few promotional videos for me.
oh, try Suno. I'm telling you what,
Suno.
my
How do you
friend
spell
used
that one?
Suno.
Okay.
And like things that are happening, like a Suno song hit the top 10 in Spotify.
Oh, I saw that on the news. Yeah.
Yeah. So now you can try it out, right? We'll write you a Sharon Delaney McCloud got a CSP song. How about
Oh,
that?
that's a great idea.
Yeah. Okay. And the last question of the day. If you could magically get people to remember one thing from this podcast, what would it be?
Your voice matters.
Aw, it's Sharon. Sharon, thank you so much for coming here on the Engaging Virtual Meetings podcast. And most of all, I look forward to sharing a karaoke stage with you. And the real stage, I will be one of those people in the audience at Influence, taking video of you and saying the words CSP. Thank you, Sharon.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it, John.
All right, let's see. We've been chatting with Sharon Delaney McCloud, and she's just saying, your words matter. And I'm with that too. You know, think about the words you say before they come out of your mouth and use some intention around it, especially around these days. It's even more, we got to think even harder, I think, before we say something. Speaking of saying something, lots of people have been here on social media. I've seen at least a dozen people come in and out here. If you are on social media, hit subscribe, share, like, and comment for our good friend Sharon. If you want all the episodes, go to engagingvirtualmeetings.online. A new episode every week. Over 150 episodes already uploaded there now. And if you want to be more engaging, make sure to take your phone out, scan this QR code, and get a free ticket or get one of our paid tickets or come in person for crying out loud. It's one of the most amazing retreats you've ever been to. October 20th through the 22nd. Every single attendee gets 5 minutes of video if you attend. And I got to tell you, that video can be really valuable since Sharon knows, since she was in an agency and on TV. And last of all, if you want to be like Sharon, go to engagingvirtualmeetings.com/meet, select interview, and you too could be like Sharon Delaney McCloud, CSP. We will see you next time. Give me the woohoo, Sharon.
Woohoo!
Always